At the beginning of the story, we see a futuristic prison where a show called Mafia was taking place. As the show began, the game master explained the rules to the audience and the players. There were 11 players in this game, 9 ordinary people, civilians, and 2 Mafia gangsters. However, nobody knew who was who. In this game, the goal of the civilians was to find the Mafia and eliminate them from the game. The Mafia's goal was to pretend to be civilians and survive until the end of the game. Every day, all players would vote on who they wanted to eliminate from the game. The chosen person would be killed in reality. They would be killed in the way they feared the most. The Game Master's drones would take the chosen player to their death each night. Whoever survived until the end of this game would receive a prize of $1 billion. If 1 civilian and 1 Mafia remained in the final round, the Mafia would automatically win. Next, we see a highly advanced room where all the players were seated. Soon, drones arrived and marked a special tattoo on each player's wrist. This tattoo indicated whether they were a civilian or Mafia. After this, the Game Master started introducing all the players. The first player was Luca, an 85-year-old billionaire. He looked much younger than his age due to the use of advanced medicines and chemicals. He was actually a gambler by nature and had become extremely rich through betting. Now he had come to this game to bet on his own life. His grandchildren were eagerly waiting for his death back home. However, they didn't know that Luca had stated in his will that if he died in this game, his grandchildren would receive no money. Anyway, the next player was Eli, a 38-year-old engineer. He had cancer, and according to doctors, he only had 3 months left to live. This was why Eli had entered the game, hoping to leave a large sum of money for his family before he died. When his wife found out he was participating, she tried hard to stop him. She wanted Eli to spend his final days with his family, but Eli didn't listen to her. Then we see 2 more players who were actually brought from prison. Their names were Butcher and Ivan. Apparently, the game show had a special program with the government. According to this program, any prisoner from any jail in the country could participate in the game. If they won, they would get freedom instead of money, and the money would go to the government. Anyway, the Game Master stopped the introductions and asked the players to reveal their identities. However, everyone swore that they were civilians. After this, they were given 10 minutes to choose who would be eliminated from the group and face death today. Outside, the friends and families of all players were watching the show on TV, their hearts pounding. A player named Constantine didn't vote in this round, but a contestant named Mary nominated Killian. Peter agreed with her. Just then, Butcher realized he had seen both Mary and Peter on TV. It's then revealed that Mary is a 24-year-old famous ballet dancer. Peter is her biggest fan. Unfortunately, one day due to heavy rain, Mary had a terrible accident. Her legs were injured so severely that doctors said she would never be able to dance again. Since that day, rain and lightning became Mary's biggest fear. However, through advanced surgery, she could get prosthetic legs that would be excellent and allow her to dance again. But this required a lot of money, which is why Mary had entered the game. Peter had actually come to the game to help Mary. The truth was, he had sold many things over the years just to give money to Mary. This guy is crazy, man. He'll definitely die for love. Take my word for it. Note, this line seems like commentary within the script itself. Hearing this, Mary started crying. In reality, Peter had been obsessively stalking her for years, and Mary absolutely disliked it. Anyway, when the other players saw this, they thought she had come with a supporter. They figured she could eliminate anyone she wanted this way. Therefore, they all nominated Mary first. At that moment, Peter interrupted, claiming he was the Mafia, but time ran out. Mary became the first victim of the game. It was then revealed that her wrist had the civilian tattoo, meaning she was a civilian. Then her chair suddenly started moving towards a large black sphere built into the ceiling. Peter tried to save her but was tied to his own chair. As soon as she entered the mysterious black sphere, Mary fainted. She came face to face with her greatest fear. She saw herself lost in a dense forest on a dark night. Suddenly, heavy rain started. As lightning struck, she began to run fast. At that moment, the lightning chased her, attacking her fiercely, forcing her to run towards a cliff. To escape the terrifying storm, Mary jumped off the cliff, but lightning struck her in midair. She suffered a painful death. Instantly, her body disintegrated in the air and vanished into the sphere. Later, the Game Master announced that the first night was over. Then, the drones flew above all the players, ready to find the next victim. This time, everyone chose Butcher. Butcher angrily started cursing everyone. Then his chair flew up and entered the black sphere. We are then shown his psychological evaluation test taken before the game. The psychologist asked him several questions, but Butcher didn't answer much. He said he wasn't afraid of anything. But later he mentioned that he didn't want to die like a fool among a bunch of fools. Now in the sphere, Butcher's final moments began. He found himself in a frightening well of death. Soon, two burly wrestlers appeared. Seeing them, the audience started cheering loudly, demanding a fight. Within moments, the two wrestlers started beating Butcher mercilessly. Butcher couldn't stand up to them. They were picking him up and throwing him around. But suddenly, Butcher grabbed dirt from the ground and threw it into one wrestler's eyes. Then he attacked them with a bottle. He landed continuous, powerful blows and knocked down one wrestler, but then the other pushed him away. However, Butcher didn't stop. He kept picking things up from the ground and launching fierce attacks on his enemy. He broke the wrestler's bones and killed him. But what was this? The wrestler kept coming back to life repeatedly. Finally, after killing him several times, the wrestler didn't revive. Meanwhile, in the real prison, all his fellow inmates started cheering. Seeing this, Butcher thought he was finally free. But as he took a step back, his foot slipped. Iron rods lying on the ground pierced his head. He died instantly on the spot. Back in the show, Peter was still angry about Mary's death, so he said that Butcher deserved this fate. A short while later, the Game Master announced it was time for the next vote, but this time, they only had 8 minutes. Suddenly, Constantine claimed he knew who the Mafia was. We then learned that since childhood, he could foresee the future. He knew everything, when he would fail a test, which girl would cheat on him, etc. Soon, people started calling him the Black Messenger. When he grew up, he started appearing on parapsychological shows. Additionally, he provided crucial advice to the government during wartime to help them win battles. His greatest fear was dying of old age. Now, Constantine declared that Peter was the Mafia. Peter then asked him if he knew everything. Why did he let Mary die despite knowing she was a civilian? Constantine replied that he wanted all the money for himself. He didn't want to share it with any civilian. Now, Peter suspected that Constantine himself was the Mafia. He voted for Constantine. Eli and Laura also nominated Constantine, but the remaining players named Peter. Ultimately, it was revealed that Peter was also a civilian. This meant Constantine had lied. After this, we see Peter's psychological evaluation test. In it, he had said he feared nothing except losing Mary. But when the psychologist pressed him, Peter remembered being afraid of water as a child. As Peter's chair entered the black sphere, he faced his life's greatest fear. Peter saw himself in a boat in the middle of the ocean. Peter immediately started rowing to reach an island, but suddenly his boat sprang a leak. As he tried to plug the hole, his hand got cut. Because of this, his blood mixed into the sea. Attracted by the scent of blood, sharks arrived. Peter panicked and started rowing again, but now his boat was slowly filling with water. Suddenly, he attacked a shark with his oar and killed it. Soon, the other sharks started feeding on the dead one. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Peter jumped into the water and started swimming towards the island. But suddenly, he saw that the island had disappeared from its place. Soon the sharks came and devoured him. As Peter was dying, he felt as if Mary's spirit had come to take him. He took his last breaths with a smile. Back in the game, before night fell, the players had a chance to choose one more player, but this time, they had 6 minutes. Then we see a player named Walter, a 45-year-old military officer. He had fought many wars for his country, but after seeing such difficult times in his life, he was now suffering from deep trauma. He came to this game so that fate could decide whether he should live or not. Actually, during the war, Walter had made a huge mistake. Due to this mistake, many young soldiers were killed. Walter had actually seen the case of the player named Ivan on TV. Therefore, he accused Ivan of being a child killer. Then, Ivan's introduction is given. Ivan used to be just an ordinary student. One night, he went out drinking with his friends. His car's speed was very high. Suddenly, they had a severe accident. 2 of his friends died in the accident. Ivan and the boy who was driving somehow survived. Actually, a woman present on the road had saved their lives. But later, during the case, the other boy's parents blamed Ivan for driving to save their own son. After which, Ivan was sent to jail. Now his biggest fear in life was dying in prison. Anyway, Ivan then told everyone he was innocent and had been framed without reason. He then told Laura he had seen her somewhere, but Laura said they didn't know each other. After this, Laura accused Walter of being Mafia. Walter accused her back. Soon an argument started between them, but in the end, Walter voted for Laura, and then Laura cast her vote for Walter. Soon, Luca, Ivan, and Eli also named Walter. Walter started shouting angrily. Finally, Constantine also named Walter. Now, anyone else's vote wouldn't matter because the majority had chosen Walter. It was then revealed that Walter was also a civilian. This meant both Mafia members were still in the game. As Walter's chair entered the black sphere, he arrived at the same place where he had made the biggest mistake of his life. He tried to warn his men about the enemy attack, but it was too late. Soon, the enemies surrounded his team from all sides. Walter's soldiers started dying like insects. Within moments, Walter's nightmare became even more terrifying. The walls in front of him disappeared. More enemies appeared from the front and attacked them. They were mercilessly picking off Walter's soldiers one by one. Finally, Walter went outside and opened fire furiously on the enemies. But seeing his comrades die and the wall disappear, he realized his end had come. Ultimately, the enemies riddled Walter with bullets and killed him. Sometime later, we see that another evening had passed in the game. Now it was time for the next victim. Then the drones chose Laura, and then Laura's story is told. Laura had a home, a good job, and a happy family. But unfortunately, she fell into the grip of addiction, and her condition deteriorated significantly. She didn't let her husband help her either. Soon her son died. Her husband left her alone. Now she was completely alone. Then she said her biggest fear was heights. Laura revealed she hadn't stepped outside her house for 8 whole years. But one night when she was by the roadside, a gruesome accident happened in front of her. It is then revealed that Laura was the one who saved Ivan and his friend's life. Also, the other boy's parents had forced Laura to give false testimony in court. Hearing this, Ivan was stunned, but he still forgave Laura because the truth was now out that he was innocent. Finally, it was announced in the game that Laura was also a civilian. As her chair moved toward the black sphere, Laura told Ivan she would wish for his victory. Finally, in the sphere, Laura saw herself on a plane. The plane was heading towards a terrifying dark cloud. Soon, this dark cloud attacked the plane, causing severe damage. Many parts of the plane broke off, and the ceiling started collapsing. An air hostess came to fix her seatbelt, but suddenly the darkness swallowed her too. Slowly, all parts of the plane began to break and fall, and finally Laura also fell to her death. After this, the players were given 4 minutes to choose the next person. Constantine immediately named Ivan, which started an argument. During this, Eli realized that perhaps Kieran and Kate knew each other. Kieran said that Constantine was Mafia, but Ivan named Eli. At this point, disagreements were arising among all players. Constantine, Eli, and Luca named Ivan, while Kate and Kieran named Constantine, and Ivan voted for Eli. Now, according to the rules, the chosen player must receive the most votes. Therefore, it was announced that voting would happen once more. This time, Luca changed his vote to Constantine. The other 4 voted as before. At that moment, Constantine surprised everyone by voting for himself. This was the first time in the show someone had voted for themselves. Finally, it was revealed that Constantine was indeed the Mafia. After this, when he reached the black sphere, he saw himself going downstairs. Then suddenly, a man bumped into him and called him Grandpa. Hearing this word, Constantine filled with anger, but soon he started coughing violently. Just then, several mirrors appeared in front of him. In them, he saw himself aging rapidly. Now, descending the stairs was becoming extremely difficult for him, but as he reached his final moments, Constantine suddenly burst out laughing loudly. He said, "I cheated." The truth was, he wasn't afraid of dying from old age at all. In fact, according to him, it was the most beautiful death. Well, eventually, another evening passed. Now they chose Ivan. Note, there seems to be a slight jump, missing transition here in the source script, directly stating Ivan was chosen after Constantine's death scene. But then it turned out he was also a civilian. Seeing him go, tears welled up in Kate's eyes. But Ivan said he had no regrets about dying, because it was now proven that he was innocent. Before leaving, he told his mother that he loved her very much, and then he apologized to her for not being a good son. Finally, reaching the black sphere, he saw himself in a jail. Guards were taking him for his death sentence. Then Ivan thought in his mind that he was on a beach with his mother, but then suddenly the guards shot him dead with bullets. Now only 4 people remained in the game, one of whom was Mafia. This time, they had only 2 minutes to vote. Soon an argument broke out among them regarding this. Eli said that Kieran and Kate were boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we see Kieran's story. Kieran was a young man who joined the game on a dare from his friend. Then one day before the game started, he met Kate. Meeting him, Kate felt so good for some reason that she revealed all her life secrets to Kieran. She said she was extremely afraid of heights, deserts, and dreams. Then she told him she grew up in an orphanage. Therefore, she felt that no one would come to protect her in this world. Well, the truth was that neither Kate nor Kieran knew they would meet again in the game. The players' argument continued for a long time. Finally, time ran out. Now the computer chose the next player. Kate's name came up. Now her chair itself, by God, well, implying Kieran likely intervened or volunteered, assuming Kieran joins Kate based on the following actions. Well, upon entering the sphere, they both saw they were standing on a glass floor. A terrible storm raged around them. With each step forward, the glass would break. Suddenly, Kieran ran towards Kate. Then they started running together. Behind them, the glass floor began to shatter rapidly. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet also broke. They fell straight onto a black desert. At that moment, they saw a triangle of light on top of a rock. They decided to follow it. As they moved forward, the rocks behind them started turning into large snakes. These snakes began chasing them, so they both ran very fast. But then suddenly a terrifying monster appeared in front of them. This was actually a manifestation of Kieran's fear, because now he was most afraid of losing Kate. Now Kieran told Kate to hide. He himself started attacking the monster by throwing stones. As the monster came in front of the triangle of light, its body started burning from the light. Then Kieran noticed another triangle hanging around the monster's neck. He quickly ran, climbed the monster's leg, and snatched the triangle from its neck. Now using that triangle, he diverted the light towards the monster, burning it to ashes. After this, they saw a stone with faces carved on it. One of its eyes had a triangle embedded. Now they placed the monster's triangle into the other eye. Suddenly, the stone started moving. A path opened up in front of it, leading straight to a house. When they reached the house, Kate saw it was the same orphanage where she grew up. She saw her mother handing her over to a woman and leaving. It's then revealed that Kate also feared knowing why her parents had abandoned her. Now Kieran reminded her that none of this was real. Whatever her parents did, it wasn't her fault. Suddenly, everything around them started breaking apart. Finally, they both stood before the game master. This meant that now one civilian and one mafia were left in the game. Finally, before declaring the winner, an ad break came on the show. Then the game master revealed that Constantine used to work for him. They were using Kieran and Kate to find a way to end this game. The game master said that they were both still trapped in that dream, but the audience was now tired of seeing players die. Therefore, he decided to show the audience the love story of Kieran and Kate. Finally, the game master thanked them for participating in the game. He freed them and sent them out of the show. Sometime later, we see Eli had returned home. He told his family that he was the last Mafia, meaning he had won the game. After this, instead of 3 months, he lived for 10 months. On the other hand, Luca also came out of the game alive, but he received no money. He then disinherited all his grandchildren. He donated all his wealth to Kate's orphanage. Meanwhile, Ivan's mother received flowers for her son every day. This meant that not only she, but the entire country was mourning his death. If you enjoyed this twisted ride, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And make sure to check out our other videos for more dark, thrilling stories. There's always something new waiting for you here on Egyptian Cinema Recaps. Catch you in the next one.